I don't know if we're able to fight this kill this dumb beach today. Bagel might be joining in later on. I'm not quite sure. Oh, I just noticed the fucking sound isn't working. Good thing I fucking checked. Stupid ass. Where the frick's it at? Here it is. Stupid ass. Fucking love. Alright. Alright. I remember you, but then again I don't. So it might take me a second here. Oh, okay. Huh, okay. I don't know. Dodge that. Okay, well that was kind of fucking garbage. Okay. How come that didn't stagger you? Why couldn't you just let me get that damage real quick? Freaking punk. Oh my freaking Jesus Christ, I did nothing to you because you freaking healed me. That's pretty good, that's pretty good. Okay. Okay, is this when you start doing your sheet? I don't know how to dodge that attack. Can you just freaking tell me how to dodge it? There it comes. Dude, I don't know how to dodge this. I don't know how to dodge that. If I run away, then you teleport. I don't understand. Me no comprehendo el ataco. Woo. Oh. Oh. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Hey! Beach. Huh? Huh? Okay. Okay. Fuck those. That wasn't wasting me. Oh, Jesus. Oh, haha. Forgot that attack. Okay. Oh, ah. How come? No, that's not fair. You might just freaking kill me. Stupid ass damage. Now I'm pooped. That's a different attack. Oh, that's the attack. Dude, I don't want that. Okay, new strategy. Run around. No, because she teleports. How the fuck do you dodge that? Alright, new strategy. Run around. Oh, hold up. I have to figure out how to dodge that. I don't fucking understand. It's kind of like the ball. You got another freaking boss. I can't really complain, but oh, that's bad timing. Wow. That's terrible. That's terrible. Okay. Huh? 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 I feel like I have to be super aggressive because if not, then you just fucking screw me over. So running away is not possible. Okay, what if I see her do it and I start running as soon as I see the animation? You know what? Let's try. Or I wonder if I can stagger her out of it. Ooh. Nah. I wonder. I doubt that my freaking jump attack will stagger her. But fuck, it's worth a shot. Solid damage over there. Oh. Beach! Oh, yeah. Oh, she's too fucking quick. This is too... Dude, what the fuck? What? Okay. I need to like, I'm probably gonna just spend 3 hours trying to learn this, to be honest. Fuck. Sir, I don't really appreciate that you didn't fucking stagger right there. It's kind of fucking rude. How the fuck did that hit me? Oh, I have a new strategy. I just thought of it right now. I have a new strategy. Okay. I jumped. I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm not. Wow, that was nice. Okay, I love that. Huh? I wonder if I can incorporate this somehow to freaking help my ass survive. I'm freaking trying that sheet. I didn't die. I don't know how I did that though. I think it's just because I was far enough away. Fuck. Yeah, okay, that was good. I feel like that's a good strategy. We just gotta stay far away. Maybe like when we know that she's low, let's just freaking run. See, how do I do that? Fucking popping off right now. Except that attack. I want that attack. Fuck. Okay. I have 2 potions left. She's not even freaking half health yet. That's real dumb. That was real dumb. Fucking shit, I'm gonna attack it there, but he fucking stupid ass stamina. Come. Fuck, I'm going for a heal. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is the best I've done so far. Huh? Whoa! That freaking hit me? Shit, don't fucking look behind you. That's a good idea. I mean, we could dodge it. Well, we gotta be like a god, and that's gonna be rare as fuck. Cause I could be having a fucking good ass run, and you start doing that shit, and then now everything just. Fuck. Massage the whole thing. Wow. Really hate how you don't sign all the time. Oh, that's like. Why you gotta attack when I'm going for a freaking heal? Listen, look, now you're back to full health already. It's like I didn't do shit to you. It's like I'm just now starting to fight you. Oh. Ah. Oops. Okay, so here's my pickle here. Alright, I need to be close to her and attack her a lot so my bleed doesn't go away, right? But also I need to stay away so when she does that attack, I'm not close to it. So I need to be like aggressive but also passive, and that's fucking hard. Especially for me. A lot. Okay, that was not very good. Alright. Don't do that. Dude, I don't even know what the freaking second phase is gonna be like. Wow. By doing this whole jump strategy is that I freaking use a lot of motherfucking stamina. There's no way that was far for that? What? Fuck did that hit me? Fucking son of a bitch. Huh? What's that? You're gonna go for a stab. At least we got 3. Stupid ass freaking double attack. Fuck. Fucking stupid ass sheep. Beach. I think I'm frustration now. That was freaking close. Ah! God, hit that. The frick did that hit me? Fucking beach. Punk. Oh shit, I thought it was the other one. Fuck, son, beach. Freaking beach. The one time I actually want her to do it, she's not freaking doing it. The frick did I dodge that? I don't. Okay, sure. Did I miss the first one? I swear to God, she's more aggressive in this fucking whenever I get her. Ah! Going for hill, going for hill. Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't do that attack again, you fucking beach. Son of a beach. Wow. Oh. Wow. That was nice. Okay. Can I get to her fucking second sheet maybe? I have a feeling she's gonna go for it. I'm freaking trying to bait that shit out. Not really working too much in my favor though. Fuck. Stupid ass freaking hit, dude. Fuck. If I would have got that freaking attack, I would have had a freaking chance of bleeding her sheep. Give me a second phase, you dumb beach. That attack so freaking much. Maybe I had a good start too, and I freaking panicked. Okay, you know what? Watch this. Okay, that was probably the best round when I get this whole stream. I forgot I'm fighting this dumb beach for 30 minutes already. But I'm motherfucking press the god blasted space button. Now you're gonna finish me off? Hello, sir? I pressed the motherfucking space button? I don't know what kind of fucking crack you're on, sir, but I pressed the sheet. It's the wrong button. That's the wrong button. Alright. This is not. Definitely not. Definitely not the one. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. I forget I have that too. Huh? Oh, this is a nice little combo. You know, he kind of healed, you know, a lot, but. Huh? I'm really liking the strategy of running away. It's pretty nice to dodge for shield. Oh, that was terribly timed. Crack, dude. Jesus fucking shit. That was good though. I didn't get as much. I don't quite know what strategy I was going for there. I guess just not death. But she kept doing that, the fast one. Maybe I should not run away from that. Maybe I should engage it. Fucking no. Oh, I'm not do that. Why you combo all these other attacks? I don't know. Why can't you see? This is why I run away. Because if I sit there and try and dodge them all, you fucking combo like 17 of them. Fucking what? That's unfair, sir. Ah! That was so freaking bad on my end. Holy bonkers, Batman. That was freaking terrible. What the fuck was that? See, if you can do that every time we do that, that'd be freaking sick. Cause I can dodge that easily. As soon as I run over there, I know you're gonna start it. Oh, freaking that shit. That was probably the best one yet. Fuck if I know how to accomplish it though. Wow, that was risky. Okay. Okay, I'm going for one. Oh wow, that was risky. Jesus fuck. Huh? Yeah. She's gonna do it again. She's gonna do it again. I'm ready for it. Freaking timed it wrong, dude. I freaking timed it wrong. That was freaking terrible. Son of a bitch. Just freaking timed it wrong. I like that attack so much. What the fuck am I doing? Okay. 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 Strategy on that one either. I mean, I do, but I don't. I have a stupid habit of just running back, and I always get comboed. Every time I freaking do that, you think I learn after dying from it? Four. Guess not. Oh, shit. Fuck, that was terrible. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm dead. I am dead. I wasn't expecting to get the bleed so early. That was, ow. I at least need to dodge one of those swings. If I can dodge one, I have like the confidence of possibly dodging the other two. It's kind of low. Ah! Nice little 1, 2, 3 combo. That was good. Kind of missed some damage right there. What am I doing? Finding all attacks. Then you're gonna do it again. Peach. thought we both dodged it. Oh, I was kind of good. I can have the reaction time for that. I feel like that wasn't even that close to me. I guess it was. Okay. Oh, Fook. Okay. I'm getting to this damn second phase of the stream. Whether you like or not, I'm laying, I'm fucking getting to your ass. Oh, that's not what. Fucking parried my ass? She actually fucking parried? This is pretty fast paced from my liking, sir. Oh, so you can see. Oof, that was fucking risky as fucking shit. And that wasn't too bad actually. I only got hit once. Huh? Huh? You fucking beach. Ah, I'm not even nothing worth it. Okay. What was that? I'm going for heal. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not really making much fun of it. This will trade, I like it. Already? Already? I wonder if after the first quarter of health, if that attack is all just random base, or if it's like still set on HP. No, because last time I freaking got it down to like 1/4. But then again, what if that's not counting the healing? What if that's just, ooh, you know what, dude? I think I might have freaking understood. I think I understand, maybe. I don't know. Boy, I actually understand this from this. What's that, dude? What the fucking son of a beach was that shit, my guy? Oh, shit, I actually dodged it. Please, for God's sake, let me heal. Holy shit. I actually dodged it. Okay, I think I might understand now. I just need to stop being a little beach. Ah, sneak attack. Oh, that was nice. I don't have any. Ah, that's a frisky ass move. Somewhat paid off though. Question myself why I would do that. Okay. I question myself why I keep running back when I know I'm gonna get hit. Freaking what the. I have died doing that at least a dozen times so far this stream, and I still don't do anything about it. I don't know what the frick's wrong with me. Freaking son of a bitch, dude. Hey, what's up, Eli? You got him this time? Bro, this checks something else, my guy. Just something else. When do I attack you? Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Ow. Oh! Get off. Oh, God. Okay. Alright. Let's reset. Beach. Are you playing Elden Ring already, or? That one, not that one. Oh, God. Okay. God, this beach is hard as shit. Jesus Christ. Fuck you, beach. Oh, that was not worth it. Not worth it. Oh, shit. That was not worth it. Oh, I was in a call with Chase, and he said something about you're in the mountains or some shit, or somewhere. I forgot what he said. Something like that. How come that doesn't freaking stagger you when I wanted to? God, freaking damn it. Yeah, that's a good attack. I like that attack. Oh, yeah. Alright. Yeah, I still didn't do shit damage. Yeah! Wait for it, get up slowly. Yeah. It's okay. No, don't do it again. Oh, death is coming. Oh, huh. There we go. Okay, so far I need to make a tally mark or some shit. I've gotten 2 good runs so far. In a matter of, what is that? 46 minutes. 47 minutes. I got 2 good runs. Here we go. I'm going for it again. Okay. Frick, I'm healing. Why not? Okay. I kind of forgot I should probably use my potion. Oops. Oh, how come that didn't... What? How come that shit didn't stagger you? That's bullshit. Go for heal. Oh, yeah. Okay. Please. Okay. You're still at, like, you know, more than a lot of health. This is not good. Ow. Ah, this is the one. This is the one. I can feel it. What's on my flask again? Am I missed? I'm using that shit right now. I forgot what that gives me. I think it gives me freaking stamina. Well, yeah, I like the stack's easy. Did you just bury my sheet? Nah, that's some bullshit. What the? What the? Oh, look, you already have full health. Ha! Dude, I was in like 1 health right there. What the hell? Oh! Go for a double. Oh! Yeah, that was risky. That was risky. Oh! Oh! That was good. That was good. That was good. Not okay. The whole fight's kind of garbage, but that was a good attack. Oh yeah! Now I'm dead. Okay, I almost dodged it. I almost dodged the whole thing. I gotta get better at that. That's still an ongoing challenge. I know how to dodge it, but I do not use those. I know how to dodge it. It's just, oh my god. God, this is the one. Alright. Fuck you. Yeah, I have a new strategy that I kind of like. Oh god, I'm still got that sucker, dude. Oh, that was good. How the fuck did I do that? I didn't dodge that? That's... I didn't dodge that shit. Whoa! Come down and stagger you. Huh? Oh, bad timing on me. Oh wow! I don't have any. I don't know why I attacked right there. Oh, I was lucky. I was freaking lucky. She didn't do a quick attack right there. Oh shit! Ah! Punisher. Oh yeah! Now run away. Come on, Beach. Oh, that was hella good. That was freaking hella good. Okay. Now all I gotta do is that one more time and I'm freaking Gucci. Ah, backstab. Freaking missed. Oh, dude, that was such good damage there if I would have hit her. Shit. Fuck that was. Can I go for a double? Can I go for a double? Yes, I can. I'm going for a triple. I'm using my sheet. Okay, I think I have a one that raises my attributes and my fucking stamina. Let's go. Ah! Bleeding coming. I can feel it. I can feel it. Bleeding coming. But we're not. Oh gosh. Give me the fucking bleed, you fat bitch. You're not fat at all, but I don't know. I'm insulting you. Okay, here we go. Come on, dude. Let me get to your second phase, my guy. I want to see what the fuck it is so bad. Please. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go. She's going to do her little Roy thing. We have to get ready for it. I'm gonna bait it out. Come on, bait it out, bait it out, bait it out. She's gonna do it any second now. Come on, fuck. Do you already? Do the frickin' attack, please. I mean, don't do it, but there we go. Okay. Okay, you know what? No, that was good. That was good. We have frickin' 6 potions left. Okay, we're chilling. We're chilling. Oh god. Oh! I was like a frickin' pixel off of that. God frickin' damn it. Alright, we had a total of 3 good runs so far in an hour. Or 54 minutes. Aw, dude, I had like 6 potions left. That was hella good. Damn it. I want to see the frickin' second phase so goddamn bad. I know I'm gonna die in 1 second when I frickin' get it, but I want to see that sheet. Double. Oh, you frickin' punk. Wait, you teleport for that? Double. Oh god. Okay, we're good. Well, that was a frickin' good ass start. Wait, how's it going, Eli? How's your strategy going, homie? Ah! Oh! Frick, I should have punished with there. Damn it. That's not. That is. I don't know how I survived that. I should be fucking dead. I was a frick. Oh my. Alright. Oh! Give me 1 second to read that. Oh Jesus! Give me 1 second to read that. Give me 1 second to read that. Oh, it's freaking Madman. What's up, homie? You know what? I was just thinking about you, my guy. I was literally just thinking about you like an hour ago. I'm not gonna lie with you. I'm dead. I'm Hey, buddy, are you gonna play Bone Labs anytime soon? Bone Labs. Oh, that's the. My coworker was just talking about that. Is it already out? Wait. Isn't that? Is that not out already? Or is it not English? That's the. Is it a ship thingamabob? I never actually looked into it. I don't know why. Oh, it's $40. Oh, it looks. Is this kind of like Boneworks?
I want something different.
Did I watch this yet? I don't think I did. I don't think I watched this shit. It's freaking guns too?
Make you into whatever we need.
That looks freaking sick. How have I never watched this trailer? I was told about it too.
Strong. Heavy. Everything's possible for Lava Gang.
I don't think I actually watched the trailer of this, and I'm kind of upset myself. What the frick? Bro, this is freaking sick. was that? Oh, nah. Bro, that is the sickest thing. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. Dude, that freaking. Show me that again. Dude. That. I'm getting the game just because of that. Also, thank you for the reset, man. I appreciate it. My dude. Blah, blah, blah. I'm copping this. Frick, I might have to play that after Elden Ring. Is the credit everyone works? I've been playing it for a few days now. Oh, for real? How is it? I need to stop in your streams, man. My schedule has been kind of whack because of freaking work and school sheet, so it's just like. It has freaking mod support from the beginning. No shot, it does. Are you serious? Mod support in a freaking VR game? What? Oh yeah. Fuck, I didn't punish. It's not as polished as Boneworks, but it's better than any other VR game for sure. I mean, frick, it looks like it. Like, honestly, dude, Boneworks and Half-Life Alyx was top tier, dude. I mean, those are the only, like, official good games I actually played. But, damn, they were good. What? I was saying, what was that? I'm definitely copping that. I got like quite a bit more hours in this game because this fucking boss is stupidly hard. But I got a couple more thousands of hours in this game before I complete it. I'm just kidding. I'm definitely adding that sheet to my list for sure. Is it for release or is it just like a beta? It's for release? Oh, dude. Oh, God, that was dumb. Yeah, I'm definitely playing that. Thanks for reminding me once again. I still gotta play the Spider-Man game on PC. That came out, what, August 12th? A little bit behind on that. So yeah, how you liking it so far? You think it's pretty cool? What kind of headset do you have? That attack always gets me is because I freaking dodge backwards instead of dodging forward. I have the Valve Index. Okay, he's got the same one I do. Ooh, that sheet must look fantastic then. You got a pretty beefy computer, right? You probably max that sucker out. I miss my VR, man. Like, I have it chilling here. Obviously, you can't see it because my green screen, but I have it mounted and stuff, but I don't use it. I don't know why. After I finish, what was it, like, Gorn and Half-Life Alyx and Boneworks, and then that one, like, Spidey game, I never really got into it. I think I've been kind of waiting for, like, another single-player game to come out, or just, like, another, like, really polished, good-ass game. Maybe Bone Labs is the one, dude. It's terrible. Well, that was stupid. Why did you dodge into that? That was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb. That was dumb. Oh yeah. That was fucking good. That was good. That was good. I do like Pwn Labs. Some things are rough, but I bet they will fix in the next update. It does have the same feel as Boneworks, but yeah, much more to do. Okay. I mean, dude, the feel of Boneworks is fantastic. I freaking love that game, dude. That's the best game. What other VR games have you played? I checked in your stream not that long ago. What were you playing, dude? I forgot. I think you might have been doing the jackpot thing. I thought I got greedy. I should not have got greedy. I would have. How many potions did I have? I had 10 potions, and I got greedy. Come on, Nick. What the? Other VR games? Nah, not that many. Been wanting to unstuff plan. Okay. Well, heck, I mean, I have a couple of suggestions of games if you're looking for something. I don't know if are you only looking for VR now? Like after you are done playing Bone Labs? Bone Labs has some serious bangers though. Ow! Why do I keep dodging backwards? I might as well just ask this. Have you you tried Elden Ring? That was dumb. That was dumb. I was about to say I made up for it, but not really. Oh, you could have gained this stagger right there. Double. Oh yeah. Double that. Frick. Oh, I didn't stagger you? Oh, I thought I can get. I thought I'd be able to stagger right there with my thing. Damn it. I'm not looking at any games at the moment, but doing a Super Mario World ROM hack for a year. Ooh. Okay. Going to. Wait. ROM hack. That sounds familiar. Is that like an emulator or something? I got plenty to do in Bone Labs. Hell yeah. How many hours do you think you can crack in that game? Well, I mean, it's kind of like a sandbox, isn't it? Is there a story to it, or is it just full-on sandbox? Okay. You don't like Souls games? I didn't think I like either. And they're just fucking hard as shit. But the homies that like to watch me like to see me suffer, so. ROM hack is basically a modification of the original SMW. So you can play it on console, HC, by your own main game. Oh shit. Is that that's like legal and everything? Well, I'm sure that the emulators are freaking ass. But let's have a story. 6 game modes? Game modes? What? Wait. I'm gonna take a wild shot that is probably freaking multiplayer? Oh. Ah, it sucks. Okay. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Fuck, I'm using my potion right now. Watch this, here we go. Yeah, that was kind of a waste of I don't know what the fuck I was thinking right there. That was like the peak explanation of just a pure. I don't even know. That was fucking terrible. Holy bonkers. That was stupid. Oh, hey, what's up, Chase? Chase, listen to what Madman's hooking you up with right now. He's giving us a suggestion on a freaking VR game, and it's Eli told me about it, but I totally forgot about it. And I actually looked up the trailer today. And, freaking fire. Can you stop doing that? Can you give me a second? No multiplayer, but has their sandbox shooting course with timer and leaderboards. You see? Okay. It's pretty much like a Boneworks V2. It's called Bone Labs. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure Eli told you about it. No multi equals the garbage. No. But it's actually just like I think it's $40. I mean, I guess if you didn't like Boneworks or FFLX, then you probably won't like the game. But so. Can you calm down and let me attack you real quick? I thought that would. I thought. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Whoop. Can you like not hit? Why do you? I can't even press them. If only you can buy VR games off G2A, it sounds like a fun experience indeed. If you prefer multi, then assuming not that kind of a game. I used to love single player games. I mean, you play Skyrim. I should fucking single player. Nowadays, I get so bored alone. I feel that actually. My stream's pretty much based all around single player games, so she's definitely in my era. That was the pinnacle of being freaking trash of the game, my guy. I don't know why I dodged so much. Reach double. Oh yeah. Did I shoot again? Oh my god, he is. Ah! Oh, double. Oh yeah! Okay, that was my fault. Streaming is a good maybe for that. You can play single player games with friends. Well, yeah, the good thing about streaming and playing single player is that you're not alone. So, Chase, you should try and you should try streaming single player, dude, because then you wouldn't be alone. Plus, you could fucking play some single player games and get roasted in chat like I do. Ha! Ah! Punish. Ah! Oh, I don't understand. Oops. Reset. Ah! Fuck. This fucking boss. Oh, why did you go for an attack when I want to stagger you? Oh, I'm so glad that. I'm set to stream. Problem is my internet is garbage. But didn't you freaking upgrade? I remember you said that before you upgraded. Now it's still freaking garbage. Ha, America problems. You always hear words nowadays if someone says that they have bad internet. Okay, well, how Madman, do you have any? You don't have like internet outages or like companies that freaking suck? I've got 1,000. You have 1 gig up and down for freaking 29 a month? So, you mind if I live with you real quick? I pressed the button? Okay, dude, this chick's freaking hacking. Oh, mistakes were made. Oh, mistakes were made. Oh, dude, it's like it's like I'm just starting to fight her right now. Look at her freaking health. It's like my dumbass is getting hit. Oh yeah, you like that sheet? Excuse me, sir. You know what? Next stream, I'm setting up the freaking button thing so you can see me pressing these buttons. I'm doing it. I'm getting the buttons. Bro, that is like stupid cheap for a gigabyte. Well, actually, I think we have gigabyte. Well, you have to be in the area for it, but I think that sheet's what, like 50 a month, Chase, some shit like that. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Why did you go for that attack? Wait, Chase, what's the problem with the internet again? It's not stable or some shit? Wait, you tried streaming with your new one, right? Fluctuations? Yeah, that's what I have too. It's weird because like sometimes, dude, my streams will be on par, no FPS drops, right? And then, but when I play something off stream or some shit, I'm freaking lagging like no tomorrow. It's like, what? Sometimes I don't understand. Why? Why do you do that attack so much? You know I hate it. Why do you keep doing it? I'm freaking dead. Yo, bad time to heal. Love that, love that. You mind getting the frick away from me real quick? Oh wait, Chase, what are you paying for? What speeds are you paying for? No, the speeds. Speeds. Does it tell you actually? Beach! I'm dead. Nah, that was just, there's no point in even trying it there. I had what, like 1/4 stamina? Dude, nah. There is no speed. It's whatever signal. Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's the freaking phone base power tower sheet. Forgot. Maybe I should invest in that. I should see if there's a freaking tower near me. Maybe that's another problem. Your sheet's fluctuating because it's not like a... It's running off that sheet. You know? Not like a normal sheet. Oh yeah, Chase, did we mess with any of your settings? Oh, so glad that staggered you. Sheet! Now after the new router came, we should do that sheet. Well wait, what games are you gonna stream again? Because this game is kind of fooked with streaming. Like my setup right now that I usually run for every game. It's kind of fooked up for this because I don't know, Elden Ring is freaking weird. I'm sure you noticed that my screen freezes a lot, but it's not like my stream. I've 100% the game is some cheat. I feel like 'cause no other game has done that. So like, I don't know. Oh, I just love that. I'm not. I love that. Pairing my freaking. Nah, that's cool. Nah, that's cool. We can check out later if you want. On the side. Well, shit, you play freaking Skyrim. Like that shit, right? Want Skyrim? Smack Brick. After that, I'll play Bone Labs and play your stream in my arm. Ha! Gotta love VR. If that's you, man. Alright, thanks, freaking man. You're a freaking legend, my guy. Fuck you, Beach. Watch this. Ah! That was it. Oh! Yeah! Yeah! Ah! Ah! Alright, Chase, here's my recommendation, alright? All you gotta do... Ow. All you gotta do is get another PC, right? Dual stream PC, easy, like $800. So you just spend shit on that, get that set up, 2 Ethernet cables, go to your sheet, then everybody's money, go. There you go. I don't know how that's gonna, fix what the problem is, but I'll just a solution. There you go. My dining notebook, let's go. $800. Punish. Oh, you. Why did you come with that? I swear. How come that's. Bro, I hate this boss because she doesn't stagger when she's mid animation on some of her attacks, and it's fucking stupid. Why can't every attack be a stagger, huh? There's there's one move where she does where if she's like half animation and you attack her she staggers. But then there's another move that has almost the same animation, but you fucking can't stagger that shit. Alright, we're good. Ah! If I get hit by that, then I'm trash play. See that one I said. Ow! I'll go for the hill. That was kind of dumb. See that one's staggered. That one did it good. What? You have the range for that? Okay. You want to go for 3? Fuck it, go for 3. Why not? Oh, fuck you, bitch. Punish. Oh, yeah. That's a cool little. Oh, look at her health. Ha. See, that didn't stagger. I really wish every time. Okay. This boss is hard. I got close 3 times so far. 3 times. I want to see her second sheet, so I know I'm gonna get one shot as soon as she turns to her second sheet, but I want to see it so freaking bad, dude. Good thing she's only one phase. Stress up. Beach! Beach, beach! That second, that was good. See, then you combo that attack, and that's not your regular attack, so it's... ow! Alright, here we go. Look, I've already used 2 potions. Look at the health. Ha! I hate this freaking boss so much. I need to be aggressive, but then I can't because then she combos more. Yeah. I can't dodge her combos. I'm too quick. You cannot enter large buildings, caves, catacombs, and so. Okay. I was actually kind of interested in hearing that. What if I need to switch up my Ashes of War on this dumb fucking fast beach? I could try that one blood one. That was kind of fun. But I mean, that's gonna let me die a lot. Ow! My face. Oh, that's sucker. How the fuck did that hit me? Ow. Okay, watch this. New strategy. New strategy. Here we go. Oh, you can't do it here. Never mind. I don't feel like going over there. Alright, let's see if I can get 4 good runs to stream. Let's see, come on. I got an hour and 30 minutes in this beach. Why? Beach. Okay. I have a new strategy. Try and dodge that sheet and immediately fucking smack her fucking face in her. Ah! Okay. Beach, I'm sick and tired of your shit. Double. Not. Ah, no. Every time I go for it, you do that stupid attack. Why? Ah! Oh! Yeah! Heal. Ah! Oh! Oh, I forgot he turns around. Oh, yeah! Before I need to make my chat bigger because I can't like sit back and look at it. Before I look, you said you missed your VR. Don't you have this set up or next to them? Oh yeah, I was mentioning that before. I have all my sheets set up. Like it's literally, I can't move my camera because it'll mess up my setup and that's a pain in the ass to get it going. But yeah, I have my sheet just chilling. Like it's been sitting up there for a long ass time. I just don't use it because I don't have anything to play. So, but now I have something to play. I just don't know when I will play. Because I have a lot of games in my to play list. Ow. I am playing as Megadeth. I think my stream is set up right too. Like I still have, I can see I still have all my scenes like for VR. I think I might have to change the VR microphone. I think that's kind of messed up. Oh, Poca. This is oh. I'm surprised about that. There's the air show. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Heck yeah. My first bowling ball profile picture guy. I'm trying to think how long it's been. I think it's been like maybe 2 years since I've like actually streamed a VR game. No, maybe like actually. Whoa. Damn, homie, you got you got freaking 2,000 hours in CS:GO. God damn. Oh, there's no way I was in freaking range for that. God, every time I go for an attack, she always does that little thing. I forget if I asked this already. Can you name some of the VR games you played on the top of your head? I want to say we probably played all the same ones. Oh, you know what? I freaking bought Job Simulator a freaking long ass time ago. I'm still gonna play that. Oh God. Jesus Christ, that freaking dash is so freaking overpowered. Last thing I played in VR was Boneworks Community Maps. Oh yeah, they have that. I think I said before I started ending that, or as I was ending the gameplay of that, I said I'd still come back to this game and then do some maps, but ha, never did. Oops. They were terrible. Wait, were they really? Oh, wow. I was planning on jumping to dodge one of those, but not the best idea. I should maybe try and get her like on the like below a hill, so if I do jump, I can actually dodge and ooh, that can be freaking worth it. FPS is terrible, and they have no fun whatsoever. Oh, really? All the maps, or just a couple? I gotta move my freaking lumbar support. Ow! Wait, ma'am. Hold on. Don't attack me yet. Hold on. Time out. Hold on. Let me just fix my sheet. Give me a second. Don't attack me real quick. Just stare it there. Hold on. Okay. Oh, shit. That feels good. Wait. Hold on. No. Wait. Okay, we're good. Appreciate it. That's kind of good. Ah ha ha ha. Do you mind switching Steam to online so I can see my submissions? Oh, I can still see it. I just have to double click on it. You can still send it. I can still see it. I'm trying for like a streak of how many oh my god. Ah! How many days I can be offline on Steam for. I think I ruined it a couple days ago though. I'll check. Oh yeah, I like that sheet. Oh, here we go. Wait, did she already do her attack? I dodged the whole attack? Okay, I like that a lot. I very much enjoy that. I like that. Oh, I like this a lot. Sheet. I like this a lot. Sorry, give me 1 second. Come on, give me that freaking bleed. Give me that freaking bleed. Come on, baby. Give me that second face. Come on. Every time I go for that stupid ass attack, you always hit me with that shit. And then I die like that with 10 potions left, dude. That fucking sucks. Oh, are you talking about? Wait, you want the? Wait, what are you talking about? You talking about the pop-up for the messages? I have that turned off. I don't know why. I mean, I run my game on oh, I know why. It's because sometimes I run my games on display capture, and I don't want people to see, messages, in case it's like personal or something. Oh, wow. That was... Sorry, it's hard to... Oh! How the frick did I manage that? Oh, I like that sheet. let me pop open the chat on the my second screen so I can see it while I'm kind of see right now. That was a good ass dodge, dude. That was a sick ass dodge. That was a freaking beautiful ass dodge. I mean, she still hold a lot, but how come that didn't stagger you? Now she had the same amount of health that she was just at. If that would have hit, I would have freaking staggered her. Oof. I have your chat on my second monitor. Your chat's popping up, by the way, on my Steam. I just have the sound off. I can see all your messages. The frick did I dodge? What? Such a freaking punk. I need to stop. Oh, is it because you're trying to? I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. You just told me that you're going to play Bone Labs. That's why you're messaging me on Steam, huh? Well, if you can hear me, I can see your messages. I have it right next to my Twitch chat. It's just now I remembered why you're talking on Steam. Also, I just now realized why you wanna. I'm slow. I'm sorry. Why is that a thing? Huh? Ow. So yeah, Madman, are you saying that you want your message to pop up on the stream, so people can see what you're saying? Because I mean, I read the message out loud anyways. That's what you're worried about. Dude, why is that a thing? I don't want message subs. Yeah, I just want to see the green post icon and see. Oh, you don't like my you don't like the grayness? Oh, there's no way that hit me, dude. What? Oh boy, that was risky. Ow. Yeah, I never really go online on Steam because I don't know. Honestly, dude, 3/4 of the homies I know on Steam, I don't even talk to. I know who they all are, but they're just from like past the games I've played, and just like we've all migrated to not talking to each other. So now I just kind of like being more private, I guess. Ow! Wait, what are you talking about? Excuse me, sir. That's why you wanted to get me online? That, sir. That's... You don't have to buy me it? Oh, you... God damn it. That's why you wanted me to go online? That's why you wanted me to go online? I was... Oh, okay, I'm gonna block your name out, but I'll show it. Oh, it still shows your name. Whoops. Okay, I guess I messed up anyways. Actually, I have you tagged as that, so... Because technically that's not your... What, is that technically your name? I don't think it is. I don't know. Whatever. Man, you're a freaking legend, my guy. You didn't have to do that, man. Thank you, sir. Freaking legend. Well, I guess we know what VR game we're playing next. Oh, would it not let you gift it if I was offline? Is that what the problem was? Freaking legend, my guy. Thank you, sir. Hell yeah. Oh, dude, I'm excited to play that. Oh, dude, you're a freaking legend. Thank you, sir. I need to add it to my thing so I don't forget to install it. Here it is. Oh, yeah, how much is it? What? This game's only 10 gigs? Oh, dude, that's not even that bad. Dude, you're a freaking legend, my guy. We're definitely playing it. Not only because you gave it to me, but I mean, I was gonna buy it eventually, anyways. I don't know when exactly we're gonna play it. I don't know if we're gonna play it after Elden Ring because I'm playing another game I think called Sekiro. Always forget how to say it. And I don't know how long that game will take, but I still have to play all the Assassin's Creeds because I bought the package like a while ago. And, but that is definitely on the top of my list of games to play for sure. Thank you, my dude. Fucking absolute legend. Dude, I'm freaking excited. Now I want to freaking play that sheet. Oh, I forgot we're dodging this. I totally forgot we were that close to that fight already. Damn it, I'm trying a new strategy. It's not working out too well. Ow. Yeah, thank you, sir. You're freaking legends. Also, what do you use, if you don't mind telling me, what are some applications that you use for streaming? Or, not streaming, sorry. For VR streaming. I think one of mine is called, OVR toolkit or some toolkit to where I can have my, my chat on wherever the frick I want. Well, actually, technically I can have whatever I want. I can have, like, on my desktop or any application, which is... Damn it. Oh. What the fuck? But yeah, man, when I do play it, I will for sure. Oh god. Oh Jesus. I will for sure let you know. Wow, that was not worth it. Okay, this is a really bad run. I probably should not even continue this. Dude, I need to take advantage of that attack. I need to stop being a little punk and not like running away from that, because that's fucking easy damage. I use daily for chat. Huh, okay. I guess the only thing you really need is just the chat, right? Okay, wait, actually, one more question, if you don't mind. What's your solution for showing the game? Because I know you can mirror it to have like your regular non-VR thing, and then there's also like a VR view of like either your left or right. Freaking legend, my guy. Can't believe you freaking bought me that. Dude, I can't believe I scuffed this fight at 10 freaking potions, dude. I'm so upset about that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what I was thinking right there. Can you guys hear my fan? Hope not. Let me know when you try first time. Dude, my eyes are like, you know, like when you look at a screen for so long, you can't read text. Capture always depends on the game. Usually just the game capture. Okay. Because I know that Steam VR gives you like a Steam VR view or something. Sending messages in VR takes ages. Oh yeah, I know. I've tried it. Little keyboard. It's fun though. Sorry for making you type a lot. And sorry for asking so many questions. I tried out what is it? Minecraft on VR. And you know, it has like the little Minecraft text box thing. And you had these like, you know, your fists in Minecraft and you were like punching the things. It was freaking sick. That is such an easy attack to dodge. Why can't I dodge that? Oh, that was a nice dodge. Can I have that sword, by the way? 'Cause is that a katana or a sword? Can I have that? Don't be sorry. So, do you also play the game off stream? Or do you only limit yourself to playing it on stream? Honestly, dude, that was kind of worth it. But like, every time I go for the freaking jumping attack. Coming out, boys. Why do you start it when I'm not freaking ready for it? Majority of the time, you always freaking program to where like I have to be freaking close, and then you activate it, and then I don't have enough freaking time to run away. When I could just be a gamer and dodge it the right way, but that's not really that possible. Also, I just now realized that there has been no captures on. My apologies for that. It should be on now. I totally forgot about the stupid caption. I don't play this on stream. Oh shit! I forgot I'm fighting. I don't play this on stream, but it's pretty much doing English efficiency. Oh, so it was actually. Okay, so it was okay. So it's a pretty hard game to run, you say? Okay, dude, I gotta wait. So here's the plan: roll back one, wait like 2 seconds, and then roll forward. Fuck. I'd suggest, Madman, if you have the money for it, honestly, dude, like dual PC setups for streaming is fantastic. I pretty much never have to worry about a game like affecting my stream based off of graphics. Just gameplay in general. So it might be a good option if you feel like you're limited to if you feel like you're limited to the games you can play. But there's some game. Well, no, this isn't actually. And plus, you have like good ass internet, so you don't have to worry about like latency problems. Sometimes I'll have like latency problems with like my OBS setup I have going on to capture my my screen and stuff. But what I'm pretty much doing is just having my OBS be my my game capture. And it works really freaking good. Oh, shit. Oh, that was good. Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. I mean, I got it 2 times. Let's try to go for 3. That much I prefer experience these alone. Okay, I got you. I'm gonna put FPS. I know I should save for a double PC someday. Yeah, dude, it's like I mean, you stream it quite a bit, so it'd be definitely I feel like a good option for you. I don't stream that much. I used to stream, you know, like 6 hours every day, and then I think that was before I got my dual. But I used to stream a lot more than I do right now. But it still is worth it, even if you don't stream a lot. But like you don't really have to worry about like getting too like to everything, you know, like a mouse, keyboard. I mean, I think you do need it technically to set it up, like to install operating system and all that stuff, but other than that, you just use this this program that was made by Microsoft that makes it so you can only use one mouse and keyboard, and you can just move your mouse over to the other screen. God damn, homie, let me attack you. Yeah, I always recommend that to people that that stream a lot, or they feel like they're forced to not stream a game because of requirements or whatever. But then again, it is nice to just kind of like relax some games, and not have to worry about streaming it. You know, you can kind of take stuff at your own pace. You don't have to worry about like you know, like forcing yourself to get content and all that. Get a chance to just show a little bit. Time I go for attack, you always frick dodge. There we go. Definitely not as far as I thought I was. Alright, I mean, I guess I was okay. Not very good at all. It's actually fucking terrible. What the fuck am I doing? Fuck, I should have punched him for that, dude. Everywhere I punch you. Die because of it. Ah, I knew it. As soon as you go for that quick little. I'm fucking dead, man. I don't know if forever we're able to kill this guy. I forgot to punish. Punish. Oh my, just going in. It feels good to just freaking, you know, just freaking hit the shit out of her. Fuck. Trade. so fucking stupid, but in like a good way. Well, I mean, not in a good way, because it fucking hurts a lot. But it's like also like, oh, you know, this odds. Fuck. Oh. Was that? How come I can't stag you on that? How come I can't stag you on that? Oh, why the fuck am I yawning so much, dude? Yeah, Madman, if you're still watching, my guy, thank you again. You did not have to do that, man. I was freaking $40 to your legend. Also, how you been? I don't know if I ever asked you. I know you're playing. You don't have to worry about this one. Blade of Mikola. Oh, fucking son of a bitch. Ah. So like that could have been good. I would have punched a little more. Oh, you can't dodge that by jumping? Huh, good enough. Okay. Didn't really go anywhere because. Okay. Ow. Ow. Dude, I want to be so freaking aggressive, man, but I freaking can't. Cause like, fuck it, let's use the potion at the start and get some freaking stamina. Maybe I can get a couple more freaking slaps in. Maybe I should just do nothing but stamina. Oh, that was freaking fire. Dude, I'm never gonna get that time. Oh, that was good. That was not good. Okay, let me switch up my mix. I think I have one for attributes and then one for stamina. Let's get 2 staminas. So that way I can kind of keep up with my freaking combo of dying. Or not dying. Of, the thing, yeah. I just crashed my game. That is not good. The game was like, hey, you're dying too much. Take a little break. I can't do anything. I can't even. I can't even control delete. Oh, there we go. I got it. All right. Well, hopefully nothing messed up on the syncing. That'd fucking suck. Well, then again, what the frick do I have to think? Alright, loud noise incoming. A freaking stupid ass camera. God. Son of a peach. I need more green screen, man. I wonder if I can convert this one to be. You know what, dude? I probably freaking could. I might have to do that because this freaking. Ow! I mean, I guess it doesn't bother me that much. I don't know, dude. I need something. Oh, shit. Note to self, not able to do that. Ow. There we go. I didn't change my misc last. My misc. I can get in so many hits if I would have been like more aggressive. This is just a test run. Just see how much damage I fished out. Dude, if I can get that attack and be close to it when he does it, or she does it, I can get at least 3 combos in there if I get lucky, and that's a freaking what? That could be a whole bleed. Freaking, that was close to my house. Wow. Okay. Would you mind doing that attack again? No? Okay. Oh, shit. Like I used 2 potions and you have the same amount of health you had when you started. How the hell did I dodge that? I don't have any stamina for this. There's literally no way I'm surviving that. I had no freaking stamina. That's the one bad thing about being so freaking aggressive is that I use all my freaking stamina. Okay, let's check out our freaking mix because I keep saying to change it, but I never freaking do. Although that extra little hit is kind of nice. Maybe I should keep it on there. Freaking, let's keep it on there, dude. Let's try and stride. Let me know what. Let's use that on her second. Something. Let's use that on something. No, let's use that on her second face thing. Her second got there. Fuck, I'm using right now. I'm not feeling lucky with this one. shit, that was in already? What the? Boo. Wow, that was okay. That wasn't that good. That was kind of good. Oh, that saved my life right there. Holy crap. I don't have any flasks, kinda. Fuck, I wish I had 2 of those potions. I hate that attack, dude. I hate it so much. If she would like wait maybe, you know, like 2 seconds before actually doing it, that'd be nice. But she's not. That. That's big boy damage right there. Missed out on Veti. Just her till. Wait, that hurt me for that? Damn near killed my ass. Another missed opportunity. Sorry. This is not that much. This is food. Oh, I thought I survived that. That's okay. Guess not. Guess not. Ow. Frickin' parry. So much damage, missed opportunity. Such a big damage opportunity. I'm losing hope with this chick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm losing hope. Attacks. Will I try Serena's singles? Dude, that I didn't hit it right there? That's freaking kind of upsetting. What the fuck? Alright. Ow. not a very good freaking skill for me to use. Oh, that. Oh boy, 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 oh boy. I want to get to the freaking second phase, man. Fuck, I want to get to the second phase. I've had, what, 3 to 4 good runs this stream with, like, so many potions left. And I freaking screwed myself. You got it. Fucking miss damage. Miss damage. Wow, it's kind of a waste. Huh? Damn it. Damn it. I need to stop dodging backwards, man. It's such a bad freaking habit with every single boss I fight, and I always freaking, like, 8 times out of 10 I get punished every time I go backwards. Especially if they have long swords, you know? Like, obviously they have a long range. Why would you go back and risk having to get hit again? Well, sometimes I don't understand my process. Ow. Oh, swamp. Damn, I thought you reached that. What'd you go back for? What? I definitely did not want to press that. I definitely did not want to press that. You know what, Nick? This whole fight, let's just do nothing but forward dodges. Fuck the back ones. Let's just go for the forward ones. Nothing but forward attacks here. The whole fight. Let's just see. I'm curious. Alright, so far, so far not looking too fresh here. I did backwards. Did backwards. Now it's move forward. Right into your frickin' hands. I was just asking to get frickin' chokehold. See, this is why I don't forward dodge. It's because every attack you combo, and it's like I have to dodge every motherfucking one. I can't just run away. This is why running away is more superior. How many times have I died by that attack and I always never dodged forward instead of backwards? I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. Me no comprehendo el dio frickin' fuck I suck. Press the button. I wonder what the difference is of having a light load. If that like how much, you know what? How much to actually boost it? What even takes up my sheet anyways? Freaking take off all armor, dude. Naked run, let's go. People are gonna join my stream and be like, damn bro, he's playing a freaking no armor run, dude. He's freaking cracked. What's the actual difference of the dodge? Oh, dude, you freaking skyrocket, dude. Holy crap. Look at that sheet. Alright, now the question is how fast do we die here? Dude, you go so far behind. I'm freaking kicking her ass right now. Dude, light load is the way to freaking go. What the fuck? Shit. What? You didn't get started with that? Oh. Okay. Bro, light load is freaking stupid and like the best way possible. Can I put on like maybe some armor but not be... Oh crap, I forgot what I was freaking wearing, dude. I think I was wearing Malekith's, wasn't I? I was definitely not. Oh crap, man, I forgot what I was freaking wearing. No, I think it was Overlords, right? I can't wear none of this to keep me light. Fuck. Fucking punk. Damn it. I think I was really... Yeah, this is definitely what I was wearing. Wow, I look like a freaking dork. Let's see if this helps. At all. I'm really digging light load, man. Like that's Frick, I might even have to put on a freaking. I think I have a thing for it too. I feel like I'm taking the same amount of damage too. My freaking rolls are stupid, dude. I can actually dodge, like, I can dodge that whole attack. Just try to dodge it. Like 2 rolls, dude, I'm out of the whole fight. Check my medallions. I think I have one that somewhat reduces the load or something. Your boy might have to put that on with some armor. What's this one? Ah, fuck that one, dude. Maybe I don't have one. I thought I did. Are you sure I don't have one? I feel like I do. Yeah, I freaking swear I had one that reduced that sheet. Oh, is it? Maybe it's an item. Also, let's freaking pop this on. Let's see how fast we die. Fuck, I'm gonna die anyways. Might as well die with honor. I'm thinking if I keep doing light load, I feel like it's worth. Is this the same damage? Oh wow, we take a lot of damage. Oh wow, we take a lot of damage. Okay, never mind. We're not using that. That is a very big freaking heck no. Raises maximum range vitality, raises maximum stamina. Swap this one out with oh, it's greatly. Well, it's right there. How do I see that? I can wear this now. Oh, I can. Can I wear the pants as well? Aw. Go take the hat off. Aw. Okay, well I can dig with the hat. Oh, this is medium. Oh. Oh, I'm just pantsless, dude. That's fine. Dude, I got some freaking skinny ass legs. Alright, let's see. The hat will obviously give me better RNG, and I'll be able to come. I think I forgot to get rid of it. I really gotta figure out how to parry. Just lost the candy parry actually. I need to freaking whoop my ass. I wonder if she can parry. Alright, what time is it? We got about maybe like 20 minutes left, 25 minutes left. Did I get rid of the thing? No, I did. Okay, let's take this one out for... I don't think this is anything worse in this fight, but I gotta learn how to parry, dude. Not very smart, sir. Not the very good. Blade of Mikaba. Damn it, I fucking went the wrong way. God damn, freaking roll of Narnia, dude. That move's great. Definitely think my, I'm getting slapped. But, well, frick, let me check what does more armor. And I can just take off. I don't think I even need the freaking gloves, dude. These don't even do that much. I'd much rather have these. These do way more. Can I swap this one? Oh, I can just swap that out? Okay, I definitely get more stuff out of that. Swap this one for that one. Okay, let's try this out. And now I'm just missing some gloves. Man, that's freaking cool. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. To be fair, I should switch out my helmet, but the wizard hat is the best hat. It's in the game, 100%. Oh. Oh. Who the flap smack a pop? Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. What up? God damn, I can dodge that attack so freaking quick. I don't have that much. Hey, what's up, Miss Moan? Sword goes swish. Yeah, she fucking swishes a lot. What's up, Moan? How's it going? How's the weekend going? You working? Ah! Ah! Watch this, watch this, watch this. Oh! Never mind. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Ready, ready, ready. Ready, 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 ready. Hey! Oh, okay, I see the dodge. I see the dodge. Okay. Ow! Oh, I was mid animation of fucking drinking my. Oh, that was risky. Ow! Wait, wait. Oh, okay. Ah! Oh! Ow! Okay. See, like, now I'm questioning myself. Why the fuck didn't I just run that? Or I can't think anymore. Oh. Going good? Heck yeah. My parents are about to get here. Heck yeah. What are you guys up to? Vernon's going to shopping. Chopin. Ah. Oh, okay. That was okay. I work tomorrow though. Ah. I met someone at work. Well, they've been there. He's doing pretty much exactly what I'm doing. The whole. Ow! So, he might hook me up with some of his, This is an air show going on near me. He's about to hook me up with some notes from his, book, so I was like, heck yeah! Don't touch me with that. Gonna have dinner actually? Ooh, okay. You guys know what you're having or just something random? Dude, you know I've been craving recently? Ow. Oh god! Some freaking Kiki's chicken, dude. I don't know why, but it's been absolute fire in my mind recently. We're going somewhere? Oh, okay. Gotta get ready first. Heck yeah. I hope you have something yummy. Take me a plate. Yeah, I'm almost done with all my classes ish. I have 21 days to pass this test. And then someone at work might be leaving soon, and I might take over his position. So that would be very nice. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No. Ah. I need to zoom in. I need to just have my chat here. I'll show her play my Percy. Oh heck yeah! I'll say that sounds awesome and awesome if you're a friend to pass over those notes. I know, right? It's weird because we never really have like I guess that wasn't a one-on-one meeting. We don't have many meetings at my work, and we had like a meeting. Oh god. We had a meeting. And I guess because they're like installing some like new AC unit or something, and they want us to kind of understand what the frick it is. Anyways, blah blah. As we were walking into like the conference room, as we were walking to the conference room, there was the guy that I met at lunch because one of my homies was how I meet him, and he said something about. I asked him like, "Oh, how did you get into this line of work?" And he's like, "Oh, I've always loved computers, blah blah." I'm just gonna ow! And he mentioned the same course I was doing, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, I'm doing that too." And he was like, "Wait, what? Really? I should give my notes." And I was like, "Heck yeah!" So you know, it's cool. It was a very, it was a pretty nice encounter. You can do great, Nick. Oh, thanks. I hate to doubt myself, but I really don't have much. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. Oh, why did I go backwards? How many times do you do that, Nick? Ah! I have a feeling she's gonna do it again soon. Oh! That was terrible. I hope everything with work is going good. I gotta run, but I just wanted to stop by and say hi. Oh, hi! Thanks for stopping by. I hope you have a good dinner with your parents. And I hope you have a good rest of your Saturday. And a good workday tomorrow. Bye! Ah! Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. I'm using a potion. Absolutely. What's happening? What's happening? Oh! Oh no! No, 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 please. Let me have this, let me have this, let me have this. Ah! Let me enjoy myself, let me have this, let me have this. Oh no, I missed it. No, 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 let me have this. She didn't let me have it. For sure. Have a good one, Miss Moon. Oh! Oh, you like that sheet? Oh! Ow! God, that was not worth it. Ow. Ow. That was just freaking dumb. Why would you go from technical? Huh, huh, huh? Oh, that was such bad timing. And then you dodge that? Nick, I don't understand you. Sometimes you're an absolute freaking god, and then other times you're just like, what's going on? Oh! Hello? Your feet suck. It's ridiculous, man. Well, that hurt. Already looking like a very bad start. Jesus freaking God. I almost had it. God. Damn. Ow. Ow. That was probably one of the aha. That was yep. Okay. Yep. Oh, I was about to say, starting off strong. So my camera was like that, but I was like that. Okay. Okay. Dude, every attack is a stagger. How the flop smack a pop do you get out of that shit? Guess you don't. Okay. Oh shit. Ow. Some attacks when breaking enemy sense, giving you a shot. Okay. You know what? They should make it to where you have to press a button to actually accept the, respawn. So you can actually read, finish reading some of the freaking stuff it shows. That'd be kind of nice. Yo, Debs, where you at? Respectful health, haha. Oh, what? I am Malala, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're gonna go for 5 more tries, and then we're gonna dip. Hopefully I can get. I would like to get one more good attempt, dude, but I'm so freaking inconsistent, especially with this freaking boss, dude. Been fighting her for almost 3 hours, dude, and feel like I have done jack fucking squat, man. Fucking parry, mother trucker. Ah, fuck. She just took that like an absolute champ. That was fucking ass fudge. I need to save some stamina here because of that. Almost think hit that move. That's pretty good. Huh? No shot that misses, bro. Oh, that was so freaking bad, dude. Dude, you're already back to this freaking health we started with. Every attack is just ow. Ow. Of all the attacks I did that had that one doesn't stagger? So it's not a stagger. I'm at no health. Was that worth it? I got the stagger out of it. That was worth it. If only she didn't heal, man. This freaking boss is cracked. I feel like this is definitely harder than that one boss in Dark Souls 3. What bosses I don't even freaking know. I dodged all of that? How? How the frick did I dodge all of that? That was fucking cool. I don't know how I fucking did that, but I'll freaking take it. What the frick is in my eyeball? God damn, it's risky. Not pay off of it. No shot she had the range for that. I was for sure she would not have range for that. Oh, that was bad timing. Wow, one combo. One with a flopping combo. Alright, this will be the frickin' last run, boys and gals and girls and frickin' gals and girls. Okay, maybe not this one. Jesus, what? Again, how come every time I go for an attack, you go for that one? And it always hits me. Now I'm freaking dead. It is not a smarter idea to do that. I thought going under was better, but it is confirmed not. Alright, dude, I sat here for 3 hours in this mother trucker. I got 4 good attempts. Almost got to the second phase, if there even is one. I still think there is. Didn't make a single lick of progress. I mean, I learned a little bit, I guess.